One more question.
Good evening. My name is Deborah Boyle. I'm a business owner on the beautiful beach here. I've been here for about 8 years. I joined every organization I could pretty much when I first came here, and the first conversations were about the beach erosion. The first time that we ever heard about this project was at the resort board meeting in February.
Of this year?
Of this year. Never was this ever discussed. Never did we ever want this. But anyways, it was brought up in February. We were told it was starting at the end of March. We're now into July. I'm a businesswoman, okay? So I'm looking at how much money you say you have to spend to build these breakwaters. I personally don't believe you have enough money to even build these 2 breakwaters, watching the way that things are done around here, to be honest. My questions are you tapping into those funds while you go about doing all this work, so you're already committed to these funds that you're getting? And second, if you do run out of funds, what are you going to do? You got half of one built after, it used to be like it's going to take 9 months, now it's 20 months it's going to take to do this? And last but not least, those are my questions. I just want to say that climate change is worldwide. And I insist that a documentary be done no matter what we choose to do on that beach, because we do have one of the longest beaches. We do have one of the longest tourist beaches. We used to be in the top 10 of the world. We're not on that anymore. But a documentary needs to be done on whatever approach we take.
Thank you very much for that. You'll have to hold your horse, sir. You'll have to hold your horse.
I'm not a horse, sir. I'm a human.
I didn't call your horse, you know. I said you'll have to hold your horse.
You feel about horse.
Hey.
You feel about one.
All right. Don't worry about it, my brother. Don't worry about it.
I don't worry about it.
All right.
The first question, if I got it correct, had to do with if during construction there was a storm or hurricane, what would happen and if works would be covered by insurance. The person who had posed the question, is he still here? Sir, is that the question? Yes? The short answer to it is that in most civil engineering contracts, very typical provision is insurance for the works. However, in tendering the works and allowing the contractors to offer prices for the works, one of the things you don't want to do is to take away all the risks from them. So the specifications will speak to them anticipating what the annual storms are and how late events will be, so that they will consider these things in their prices and not try to attack the project for variations or standing claims. Those are the strategies that we're going to use. So to answer your question is that during storms and hurricanes, the typical things will be done to bring the boats and barges into safe harbor or send them to safe harbor. The marine operators know where along the island, around the island is safe, mosquito cove, etc. For certain vessels. And yes, it will be covered by insurance. That is a provision in the job tender document. And it is very unlikely that it will be taken out, because in 99% of all engineering contracts, it's a typical provision. Did I answer your question? The second real question had to do. The second real question came from Ms. Griswold. Is Ms. Griswold here? Yes. And Ms. Griswold, you're going to have to help us to understand what your, not what your statements are, but what your question really is. You had two questions, one from Negril, where if I get it correct, he said that there are areas in the northern part of Negril which have not eroded in his estimation ever, and that what you're saying about the erosion in the north is new for him. Is that correct, Ms. Griswold? Yes, she's getting to the mic.
From Mr. Coulson, 65 years of coming to knowing Negril, there was never any erosion in the northern section. The watercraft people used to go there in the storms because it was the most quiet place. His question is the erosion that has taken place since the seagrass was pulled out of the sea and killed. And his question is this breakwater going to bring back accrete sand back in the northern section in a seagrass has not been and presumably will not be replanted in that area?
Okay. As it relates to that part of your question where you asked if the erosion has occurred after the seagrass has been removed.
No, we're not asking, we're telling you that the erosion took place after the seagrass was removed.
So he has now observed erosion in the north after the erosion. Okay. That question is answered very eloquently in the revamp study. And I suspect that there is a very strong correlation between the stabilizing of the shoreline and the presence of the seagrass beds near shore. So I hope that answers your question.
Will the breakwater accrete sand in front of sandals and heathens? And that's the question.
I'm going to answer your second question. So just to answer the first one, I think you will find his answer in the revamp study, but I think the answer is removal of the seagrass beds had a lot to do with the shoreline becoming less stable.
Yes, but will the breakwater accrete sand in front of heathenism and samples? That's all yes or
Right.
no?
Okay, no, I'm going on to your second question.
So that was the first question. Please answer it. Yes or no?
The long and short of it is yes, Ms. Crystal, approximately 12 to 13 meters is what we expect if the wave climate which we observe in a particular period reoccurs at the window of time before the sand accretes and evolves and stabilizes for a long-term position, so approximately 7 years, and it will be about 12 to 13 meters. For the long-term width of the shoreline, does that answer your question?
Could you tell me where the sand is coming from, please?
This drizzle, what happens during a storm is that the waves activate the sediments that are on the seafloor. They get suspended. You have what you call bed load and you have suspended load. When the breakwater set up a particular current and wave pattern, the sand deposits in the lee of the breakwaters as well as in other areas associated with the breakwater. Why do they deposit? Because if the sand is suspended, it runs up the shoreline on the back of the beach. It deposits on the back of the beach. So where is the sand going to come from? It's going to come from the seafloor. Where did the sand go to after the storms? On the seafloor. It didn't disappear. It didn't go in that big trench offshore. It's near shore. Does that answer your question?
Not really, but okay, go ahead to the second one.
Feel free to come and sit with me for about 2 hours. You think so?
Why don't you come to Negril? You're more than welcome. We're very nice people down here, you know.
Sure.
Second question, please. You'll answer it.
Right. So that was Neru's question, if I got it correct.
Right.
The second question, or really your first question, had to do with when we dredge the river, there's an economic value to that fill. And in your estimation, that sand is going to come from the southern beaches, or rather the south part of the beach.
That's where it's
and not into the north of the river. One of the mitigation measures which we have conceptualized, which was removed from the planning of this project, was actually an extension of that southern drawing. We had proposed a 15-meter extension of that southern drawing to keep the sand on the beach and to also change the way the wave patterns approach the southern beach. You'll notice as well that the sand goes over the back of the drawing and into the back of the river. Not certainly if you've looked at it, but in local conditions, that is what happens. And so, but unfortunately, due to budget constraints, that there would be a need for an additional $500,000 US, we were asked to remove it from the plans for this phase of the project. So again, if there are private individuals who would like to put $500,000 towards this project. And I think the extension of the groin on the South Negril River would be an excellent starting point.
I'm afraid I don't think you did your homework right, because most of the sand goes over the top of the groin, and that's how it gets into the river. So unless you're going to build a 6-foot wall there to stop the sand going over, and I think it's very hard to ask people in the southern section of the beach to find money to stop them losing sand, their own sand that is going to go back into the river. I find that a little difficult to accept. Thank you.
The third question had to do with the topping of the funds and doing a documentary, or rather a statement on a climate change documentary. The topping of the funds is not really a matter for me to discuss. As far as I know, there is no topping of these funds. The funds are distributed from EIA to the National Works Agency based on certificates which have to do with real things done that have been planned for this project. Real things done for this project from last year, August, have to do with our studies and their supervision of our studies, etc. There, as far as I know, there is no other use or access to the funds. The funds are tightly controlled. Ms. Bernard from DIOJ is here. I'm certain that DIOJ does not even have access to those funds for any other purpose other than for the project which was described by the proposal in 2012. So it is not, for want of a better word, a willing affair as far as I know.
But as the project progresses and we need more people wanting to use to treat them
Go near line, man.
and the cost go up, is this budget, I mean, just free?
No, you're correct that the need for the project in this case is larger than immediate budget available. Reality is that there's going to be a need for some topping up of what DIOJ has access to from the adaptation fund, and to make the project a better project. I am certain that the project will be very grateful for any $4 or $5 million which the private sector of the grid can put towards this project.
Right, sir.
Thank you very much. We're on to Sir.
Yes, sir. My name is Dalton Hill, and otherwise called Penny.
Otherwise called?
Penny.
Penny.
P-N-Y. I look around this room, and I don't see anybody here that is maybe older, but not older when it comes to Negril like me. I was born 500 meters or something here.
You have history by your side, Mr. Speaker.
No. I only heard about this particular project some weeks ago, a couple weeks ago. And I have been living here all my life, other than traveling here and
You
here.
being sure?
Nobody has informed us. No survey, nobody came about checking on people who really know what's going on. No. In 1959, when this road was built by Raymond's Caribbean Construction Company, I'm not forgetting it.
Oh boy.
Those breakwater down there was told, they told them that do not build those like the way they did. This is people like my father, grandfather, many other Negril people told them who were main fishermen in this town. Knew because they knew what would have happened. They continued build and they built them. The south side should not have been built period. It should have been the right side going further out to ocean, turning with little to your south. Then the sun would have gone all the way around and come in. It would not have interfered with the river. That was dredged. It would not have. Since 1962-63, when you had a major storm, we had to use a ladder to climb from the top of the beach part down to the sea. That was what happened the first time when we saw what was going to happen. Since then, the beach has been going and going and going. If these planners had come and talked to people who have some kind of experience to what was going on, then we wouldn't have gone to the stage of now deciding to take away downtown Negril, which is going to cause a major problem for Business Week on West End. Because when the sewage came in, it's a problem. We have to go through Red Room, we have to go through Orange Hill to go home or to our business. We lost millions. We never came back. West End never came back together after the sewer plant, the sewage. Never did, and will never come back because of what happened. Now all of a sudden, the planners in Kingston decide that they're going to take our beautiful little town and go put some kind of breakwater down here to give who after they finish with it? Who they going to give it to? Some squatters? Yes! For what? To start shooting one another again? No, sir, I don't agree with that. I think we can find somewhere else to move the boulders to and do not use downtown Negril because it is the entrance to West End. It's the entrance to Red Ground. When you have these big buses going to Rick's Cafe, do you think they're going to go up to Red Ground? They can't. Because the school children have to come from the primary school through Hermitage and go up the road. So what you want to do? The big buses to run over these kids. It's not going to work. It can't work. We've got to go back to the drawing board. This project needs to go back to the drawing board. We need some experts from abroad who has experience with this kind of thing. Because Negril Beach will be destroyed more. As far as I'm concerned, if you put a breakwater out there, the current is not going to move how it's supposed to move. This stagnation is going to be unbearable. It's going to turn into something where you see in the Baltic Sea or the Mediterranean. I have traveled extensively over many oceans, from the North Sea to the East Sea to the Baltic to Mediterranean, everywhere. And I've seen projects that they do. And the projects that I see is something that they should go and they should study and look and check with the proper engineers. I'm not saying these people are not learned in Jamaica. They are learning, but they don't have the experience. The experience is what we need. And until we have that kind of experience, I say the project could sit in some cupboard for a while. Because I believe that the beach will come back if we adhere to certain principles and make sure that the building codes are adhered to and all the things that the planning authority here should be doing, which are not doing. From that time on, from the major hotel, from the first hotel came to the stone, which was Negril Beach Village, they put a breakwater out there. When Sanders came in, they keep moving all the sand, and when everybody said don't move the grass, because the grass is part of the sand, it has to come in, replenish, and then go back out again. But when you put it in a truck and you take it away and dump it, you're dumping 10 tons of sand. You know, and this is logical thing. It don't take a rocket scientist to see what's going on out there. It doesn't. And I totally disagree with downtown Negril. We've got to find somewhere else. If the project is going to go, which we cannot stop from everything, but we have to find another place. It can't be downtown Negril.
All right, sir.
It just cannot be Mr. Perry.
I hear, sir. I hear. Jesus would say those who have ears to hear, let them hear.
You know? And anyway, all I want to say is that when you do the project, who is gonna maintain it? Who is gonna monitor it? Who is gonna keep track of what's going on? Every contractor that has come into this town to do any major development has found wanting. The roads are a mess. The water is a mess. Where are you gonna get water from to wash these stones? Where are you gonna get it from? We're in trouble. Jamaica is in a crisis when it comes to water, and it's not stopping because the entire world is changing. You can see what is happening to some of the countries in Singapore and Thailand and China. All the hurricanes and water is in that direction. Nothing is in the Caribbean. Absolutely nothing. And all of a sudden, you bring all these big engineers and they come and they want to put a project in place and they don't talk to the native people who have some kind of idea. We might not be, we learned it enough, but talk to us and let us give you some ideas. I don't want to go any further, but I feel so terrible to what is going to happen to this town unless some sensibleness come into the whole thing.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hayes. Thank you.
young lady from German Watch was not here incognito. She came to take part in a conference at Panos Caribbean had in Montego Bay, which I attended. I met her when she met you on the bus coming to Negril. I met her at Catch a Falling Star, and she had lunch with me the next day and spent the afternoon with me. So she was not here incognito, as you said. She is part of an NGO out of Germany that their role is to monitor 7 projects that the adaptation fund is doing, one of which was here in Jamaica, and that's why she came here. About the stones, I'd like to know if a supplier has been selected. I saw the quarry assessment in the EIA. It was fairly obvious from the extreme bias in the EIA. Can I finish my question, please? Thank you. I'll stop interrupting. What? It was extreme bias towards one supplier based on the wording. I mean, they were superb. Their quality was great. Everything about them was wonderful. Mr. Foot, your quarry was not one of those. Yes. And I would like to know if the quality of the stones that this quarry supplies has been assessed and confirmed, because your EIA says that they must have a specific gravity of 2.5. And there's nothing that indicates that any assessment of the stones that any of the quarries supply have actually been tested to meet this specification.
Okay.
It's in the EIA.
Yes, Madam, third speaker. The 2 men behind you are fighting. Please tell them to calm down.
Anybody believes there's somebody going to be testing specific gravity of stones? I have a piece of land to sell you.
Yes.
So I have model questions, okay? I have a lot of them, but I'm just going to ask one.
Good.
Figure 451 of the EIA. Now, who's going to answer model questions? Mr. Burgess? Okay. So, I don't know if you all understand this modeling business. I had to do a lot of reading, and we did get external review, as Mr. Burgess suggested. So, there are computer models, and then there are physical models. Now, that picture he showed you of the waves rushing up the little kind of trench, that is a physical model, and it seems to me they are showing some different things. So, the model that was constructed at Ocean Engineering Lab at the University of Delaware, the really qualified people, showed that the breakwaters would reduce the wave heights by less than half. So a coefficient of 0.53. Agree? So if this is so, right, isn't that in conflict with the physical model results, which show, then why would the wave model used in the EIA, which is ST wave, assume that the breakwaters would reduce wave heights by 75%. So physical model says 0.5 transmission of 0.53, roughly half. ST wave says 75%. Then figure 451 of the EIA shows that the wave height landward of the breakwater, so inside the breakwaters, is predicted by S beach, a different model, to be 0% of the waves approaching it. So we have 3 different results. We have the physical model saying 0.53, we have ST wave saying 75%, and we have S beach showing 50%. So the predictions in the EIA seem to be somewhat in question. The S beach modeling seems very doubtful to me. They are saying 3 different things. So could there be some explanation of that?
Okay, before the men come, we'll ask, there are 3 questions. And we have 2 men who are ready. Not yet.
The first question was by Mr. Hale, or well, was more a lot of Mr. Hale? Yes, Mr. Hale. Hill, sorry, Mr. Hill. Yes, it had to do with a lot of your observations. It had to do with your observations as to when we were carrying out our work and our survey. We felt, if I did correctly, that the local experts were not consulted. And also it was your estimation that there was a need for our experts from abroad to assess this project, and that the stockpile being put downtown was inappropriate as it was a gateway for West End, Ritz Cafe, and that another location should be sought. Is that what you said? Yes. Mr. Hill, by your own admissions, you said you have traveled many oceans. I suspect that when you were on those oceans, we were here. Because if I look at the time that the hydrographic surveyor, the environmental engineering team was here, the EIA team was here over the last 9 months, I'm certain that you'd have found that specific to this project, the team was here somewhere between 6 and 8 weeks, continuously, at different points in time. So you're added all the time in the last 8 months. And that is not to discount the many other projects which we have worked on in this area. I appreciate your local knowledge, and after this, if it is we can spend 5 or 10 minutes, you will tell me what your interpretation of the patterns are in your 70 years here. But I do take offense to it, and I think I speak on behalf of the other members of the team, and you said we did not consult locals, for want of a better word. Because as Carlton had alluded to, and as Jessica had alluded to, 53 persons in her survey, and Carlton 200, 300 persons. Is it that those 300 or 400 persons don't count? And is that it's only you that count?
No, don't misunderstand what I said.
What did you say that? Mr. Hill, come on, Mr. Mr. Hill is me responding. Mr. Hill is me responding. No, my turn now.
No, but you're saying that
Mr.
I don't come to insulting me.
No. I'm asking you if it is that those 300 or 400 other persons don't count.
90% of them don't count.
We will keep that, we will take that as your opinion, Mr. Hill.
No.
Mr. Hill, I'm going to answer the second and the third part of your question. You said that we needed overseas experts. Well, we got Trinidad. I take some offense to that statement as a local professional because I'm an intendant.
But I did say no offense.
It's time that we start to believe in our people, especially our professionals.
Why are you going?
And I'm tired of people like you really putting us down. I'm tired of people like you wanting us to study areas over and over. We have had 4 studies in the world, what you want. Now you want the great farmers to come here.
No, you're going on which I don't like. And I believe
anyway, Mr. Hill, I just say to you, say you want farmers on the project, trade them in the project. You satisfied?
Oh, where is it?
Mr. Hill.
You listen to me.
No,
you listen. You listen to me.
No.
If you're going to come and insult people down here, I did not insult you.
Thank you, Mr. Hill.
Reverend Perry.
Yes, I'm here.
He owed me an apology. I did not insult him. Yes, sir.
He said he felt insulted that you should think that as a Jamaican.
Because it's a public forum.
Yeah.
And he needs to answer questions.
Yeah.
I made a suggestion.
All right. Okay. All right.
Don't be offended, sir. Don't be offended, all right?
All right, Mr.
No. We don't finish yet. No, we don't finish because I did not insult the gentleman.
All right. Okay.
Because I also said that I'm saying that I don't know exactly what his credentials are or whatever. But all I said was that I don't think that we should not have proper experts. And I believe Negril deserves that. I am a Negril person. I was born here.
Okay.
All I'm saying, I do not like what's going on because I was not told that many of us was not told. Oh, shut your mouth.
All right, Mr. Hill. Thank you. Yes, sir.
If you want war, you can get war.
No,
I don't like it.
we're not here for war. We're peace. We're trying to develop Negril. We're not. Thank you.
When you about drama and bread. Let know what crab and bread. You know anything about crab and bread?
You understand? Don't worry about Mr. Hill. Mr. Hill, you're very mean. You're elevated. You're not Hill. You're not a player, you know. You're a Hill. You're a Hill.
The word is love, sir.
Yes, sir. But you go ahead.
The word is love.
Yes, every time.
I'm out of here.
The word is love.
People think because I'm all money, you know.
The word is love.
Our money.
No. Don't get this in
The
the
word is
I'm
love.
going to European Union and watch you.
Yes, we get to hear
The word is love. From the top.
Mr. Chairman, just to return to the line of questions, unfortunately the gentleman had raised the issue of stagnation and suggested that it was not properly dealt with. In a previous point in the question and answer, the question was raised as to the members of the team. Yes, Mr. Chairman. Just to complete my response to that question, the issue of stagnation dissertation on coastal water quality, especially related to Jamaica, Kingston Harbour, the development of a model, a coastal water quality model. And so, rest assured that as it relates to the potential for stagnation as a result of the breakwaters, we have used the best tools possible. I'm even going to go so far as to say, on another coastal project in Jamaica, I observed and I read the coastal engineering report. The gentleman is from Miami, but that is not something which we use in good practice. And I observed where his report was accepted by the relevant authorities, yet still don't seem to have greater scrutiny. But rest assured that we have studied stagnation. I may have been born in Jamaica, raised in Jamaica, I've lived in Jamaica, but we know what it is. The second question had to do with the bias and the language in the contracts as it relates to quarries. And if the stones were tested to meet the specifications. Am I correct? What's the lady what I asked that question? I'm sorry, I'm not hearing you.
You chat too much, man. You make too much noise and come and disrupt meetings.
I'm sorry.
I asked you specifically if a contractor, if a supplier has been awarded the contract to supply the stones. I said there was bias in the contract based on the quarry assessment and the wording that was used. If you read it, you can see for yourself that there was obviously a preferred supplier of the stones, and I'm asking if the stones from that quarry, which I understand are dolomitic limestone, have been tested and assessed to be the specific gravity of what the EIA says and your design says the stones need to be to build the breakwaters.
Correct, I'm sorry. Can I get your name?
Mary.
Mary. First of all, there's no contract as yet for supply of anything. Right now, we are in the project development stage. We're going to tender soon. What we have now is a tender document for the supply and placement of boulders, and that tender document has specifications in there which any contractor from St. Thomas to Negril Breakwater can choose to try and meet. I am sorry that you see the bias, or rather see what is preference for a particular quality of stone in a quarry as bias. The reality is that Mother Nature does not put down stones in equal quality elsewhere. And so when we see stones and formations of a particular quality, we highlight it just to draw to the attention of all of those who are reading that this is the ultimate preference. But as long as you meet the specification or specifications, and I must inform you, it's much more than 2.5. The specifications for the supply of rocks is actually about 7 pages. And the 2.5 is just one line on those 7 pages. So what we have done is opened it up and said, no, we're not going to select a contractor or a quarry, meet these quality criteria which suit our project. And what this does is that it opens up the quarries all around the island to meet up. So I hope that answers your question. All right, your question was, is there a contract or was a contractor selected? No. Was the part tested to meet the 2.5? The records of the Geological Survey Department, the Mines and Geology Department, are very extensive, beautiful database of information on the quality of stones. In many instances, there is no need to repeat testing of some of those forests because the information exists. In some instances, from the 1950s and 1960s. So, as for if we tested it, no. As for if there are test results, yes. Good. All right, I think I've answered your questions. No, but how is it relevant to you? Are you going to tender on it? All right. The tender will hopefully come out. The tender will hopefully come out in another month of time. Mr. Chairman, I don't remember the term.
Thank you very much. I want us to know, yes, Robert, I want us to know that we're not going to be here all night tonight for everything. So, I think that is Mrs. Jackson. We're going to terminate there. Sorry, Mrs. Grizzle, you have spoken more than once. We're going to cut right by, we have to cut by there. Were you in the line, sir? Well, wherever you were, you will go back there. But, okay, you are yielding to her? Are you yielding to her? All right, fine. Because, listen, it's nearly 8 o'clock, and we've been here from 3 o'clock. It's a long. Yes. Yes, sir.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Leonard Williams here from the Negril Coral Reef Preservation Society, and I'm also the chairman of the Negril Enhancement Foundation. Now, I must say to the people from Kingston that all the concerns that the Negril people have are extremely legitimate, very legitimate, because I have seen a lot of good intent for Negril that have gone sour. For example, when Norman built the highway in 1958 and drained the wetland, it didn't know that these disasters, the drying out of the wetland and the sugarcane seeping into the canal, overflooding the coral reef with algae and killing them, nobody knew that. When they built the sewage for West End and shut down the community for 3 years, all of those were good intent. And I'm saying that Darnyan Uno Supper, if this breakwater that is going to be built should go amok, God will name your supper. But let me say this, that for the people in Kingston, NEPA and PIOJ, who have spent hours and tirelessly to get this funding for Negril, it is a good intent, and we, the Negril people, are extremely, or should be extremely grateful for that effort. For that effort. And let me say that the study that the PIOJ used to get the funding, the owner of that study, legitimately or legally, is the Negril Coral Reef Preservation Society. And let me say this, that a lot of people are saying that, hey, breakwater, we never hear of this, where it come from? Some of us have selective memories, because when Smith Warner needed to get the other 50% of the money to complete the study, the Beach Restoration Committee chairman had to sign off on the study. Daniel Grizzle signed. I took the letter to Daniel Grizzle, who signed it so Smith Warner could get the other money, from which the recommendation to build breakwater and our beach nourishment.
The first option was beach nourishment. The first option was beach nourishment.
Okay, let me say. No, interrupt me.
Yes, you call her father's name, so you forgive her.
The first option was beach nourishment. Perfect. The ultimate scenario is a comprehensive scenario where I spoke to Smith one about 1,000 hours on the phone. And never once I was of the opinion that you should re-nourish before you build the breakwater. I was on the NCRPS, was always under the impression that you build the breakwater and then you re-nourish. And then you do the comprehensive, meaning you start grow coral reef and seagrass and stop eat the parrotfish. Because the parrotfish is what really going to be making. But the sand in the event, we really need to re-nourish again. Because sand come like Milo, sometimes it dissolves. And where you going to get the sand from again? You have to have coral reef and parrotfish pyramid, because one parrotfish makes 800 pounds of beach in its lifetime. And we near them out at the stage of the ticketing. Now, the relationship between PIOJ and NEPA is not so good. But let me warn the Negril people. The Western Road and all of these projects that we have came through the PIOJ. And so, we must be very careful how we treat these people from the PIOJ and NEPA. Because the race is not done running, and we're going to need them in the event. We need to re-nourish. Now, I believe what the PIOJ needs to do is, in the event we're going to be getting this breakwater, I only hope that they have a maintenance budget in place. Because while I trust the PIOJ, I don't trust Mother Nature. Because I don't know who knows little bit. I see some big stone roll out of the ocean by waves. And I've seen a community in St. Mary, a housing scheme, that stone mash up. So I trust the PIOJ people, I trust the NEPA people because I've worked with them over the years, but I don't trust Mother Nature. Now,
you have a question coming up now? Yes, but we have a question. He's talking for you.
there is this saying that we're going to be doing 1.5 miles when we need 5 miles. I believe that the Climate Change Fund, which is very cash rich, come from out of a Copenhagen Treaty where the industrialized nation agreed to put up $1 billion to help third world countries adopt and adjust to climate change phenomenon. Now, I believe too, we also need to maintain a good relationship with these people, because if they fund a project for Negril and we kick it over, what will happen next time? And I am saying that PIOJ, if we are to do the breakwater, make sure that you have a maintenance fund in place. And if you want to disrupt the traffic going to West End, if you have to do that, please do it at night.
All right, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, sir. Well spoken.
Good evening, Conrad Cummings, Jam UK Charities. I just got a text, and this question is for anybody from them. Farmers in Sheffield say, please remember them when you issue permit to drench the river. And for me now, I would want to ask any person who sits from the tree on top of the platform, when last have you taken a swim in the Negril Breakwater on a Sunday? Anyway, I experienced some strange happenings 3 Sundays ago. I went to the beach with my son, and while having a swim, I saw water started to get discolored into a green form. However, I still maintain my presence in the water with my son, and after half an hour, he started to breathe like he was drowning or gasping. I rushed him to the Sagamore Hospital, where it was very technical to get medical attention. Anyway, when final, I asked the doctor what was happening, and I explained to him. He said, well, probably it's chemical from that minute, which trigger off an asthma attack. Now, I am saying if the boulders should be in the water, how fast would those chemicals disperse itself to other areas, or will it be trapped inside our swimming zone? And if for some reason, up to date, I don't think Negril get a data on the treatment quality coming from Sheffield into the river and the sewage. And finally, we need to have a data so we can know what we are getting involved with the chemical treatment plant in Sheffield. I went there and it was well fenced, but I can assure you there's a skeleton head on it. Keep out. Thank you.
Okay, this is our last speaker. Say but one. You still up, sir? Say but one.
Alright, thank you, sir. I'd just like to point out that the Smith-Warner International report said first option, beach nourishment, and we have to deal with the degradation of the quality of the water in the Bay of Negril before anything else can be done. The second option was if after 5 years we were still experiencing some erosion, then the possibility of some nearshore breakwaters were considered. Since then, the world has changed. There's been a thing called a sand engine that has been used by the Dutch, which replaces breakwaters. It's a fantastic idea, and I'm hoping that we'll get more information on that. So I just wanted to deal with the Smith-Warner. Second point, you mentioned about PIOJ and Jamaica getting a bad reputation with the donor agencies. Well, to be honest with you, we won't lose the money. PIOJ would just have to find another project and reapply. So we won't lose the money. And secondly, I think Jamaica has already burned their boats with the international lending agencies with what Jamaica plans to do with Goat Island. So I don't think Negril is really going to make any difference. Now my question to you, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to give you a little bit of work. So could you just bear with me, please,
A little bit of work?
A little bit of work. All right, Mr. Chairman, I'm asking you...
I didn't bring my binoculars.
Okay, I'm asking you to read those 2 pages. They're coming from the EIA. I printed them out of the EIA. There's many, many more like that in the EIA. And I have a question here for CL Environmental. Question is, please explain why the quality of the diagrams and the maps in the EIA are of such a poor quality. Dr. Wickham McNeil, our MP, and the Minister of Tourism had requested that better quality maps and diagrams be supplied before this meeting. Do you not agree that the Negril people deserve the right to be able to see and fully comprehend the scope of the project in its entirety, and that another public meeting should be called once they have been able to peruse these documentation before any final decision is made on this project?
Okay, thank you very much, madam.
Thank you.
But you'll have to give me new spectacles.
I think we all need new spectacles. I mean, I think a high school student could have produced a better quality diagram than this.
Okay. Thank you, sir. The last speaker. Last speaker. Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is Lee Issa, Chairman of Couples.
Your name is?
Lee Issa.
Lee Issa.
Chairman of Couples Resorts. For the past, say 40 years, beach restoration, beach nourishment has been the preferred method of improving the quality of your beach in coastal regions. Now, I know the argument why it was not considered is because they say, the experts say that it is not sustainable. Now, my question is, if, based on the EIA report, if we're losing approximately 2 feet of beach a year, and we were to do a beach nourishment program that gave everybody from one end of Long Bay to the top of Long Bay 90 feet of beach, and we're losing 2 feet per annum, that means that in 45 years, we would be back to where we were before we started the project.
You and I will be around that time too.
Well, I hope so. But the point I'm trying to say is that, to me, that is sustainability. And where you have a hard structure, if based on a lot of the comments and questions that were asked, is that what happens if it doesn't work? It is irreversible. With beach nourishment, it is a soft, environmentally sound solution, and everybody would benefit, from the people in the south to the people in the north. And it would take 45 years for us to get back. If we gave everybody 90 foot of beach, it would take 45 years for us to get back to where it was before we started the project. So, for that reason, I vote for beach nourishment. We don't need the breakwaters. We do not need a two-pronged solution. This is a sheltered bay. It is a natural bay. Let us work with nature. Let us do the beach nourishment, and let's forget about the breakwaters.
Sorry. My word is my bond. That was the last speaker. What are the questions, sir?
I try, usually, in terms of the figures you're talking about, I'm trying to determine which are the figures you're talking about. Yeah, you once said the quality of the figures.
Good evening. Welcome to Westmoreland.
Give him a talk, give him a talk.
I'm born and raised in Negril. Good evening.
Somebody turn it down. Turn off the lights.
Good evening. Welcome to Westmoreland, Jamaica. With one love and unity and harmony. This is the full center all of the earth, east, west, north, and south. This is Westmoreland. Let's give a blessing. And I could talk. It's my time for my speech. Biden is charitable. I speak. What is the environment of the people, of the industry, of the tourist industry? This is not nice. It's very discounted. Very complicated. I can speak. Please, this is my turn for the evening of the moment. All right. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, praise God. Good afternoon for the moment. May we give thanks and praise, our Father who is in heaven. Hallowed be thy name of thy kingdom. By the power and the glory.
Back to you.
All right, I was talking about the quality of the maps and the diagram in the EIA. We were unable to read any of them. They are unable to make them any bigger. Mr. McNeil at the last meeting asked you to supply us with a better quality map. We need to get this information to be able to assess what is planned for Negril. So I'm asking.
My understanding of the map that we spoke about at that meeting was to have a map that shows you some of the properties so you could have an idea of locations along the long way. Now, I know you probably don't understand a lot of it, maybe the diagrams that you're having.
Could you look at the two that I gave Mr. the chairman, please? And that's just two I just showed. We can't read it.
Yes, I heard it, but as I'm going to tell you now.
Was it intentional?
Can I finish?
Sure, sorry.
Some of the diagrams came from the engineering aspect. And because they're probably our bigger thing to get it into the report, then we had to get it in. So maybe, I have no problem here saying you can't read it. But in terms, when you're saying quality, you're talking about readability in terms of the size of the writing. I have no problems with that.
This one today was given out. Nobody can read it. We cannot read what it says.
That's why I have the presentation.
But I think we have the right, can I just say, we have the right to take the information home, peruse it, discuss it with our family and friends, and make proper evaluation of it. Without the correct information, we're unable to do so, and I think we have the right.
The idea of that is that to make notes as we go along. So if you have any clarification or need.
No, I think we should be able to read the EIA. I think it's a basic human right. You're proposing something for Jamaica, for Negril. We, as a human right, we have the right to know exactly what you propose to do, the size, the dimensions, and everything.
And that is why we're here in the public meeting. Let me clarify something about EIAs. And I mean, Diana might disagree with me, but an EIA is a technical document. It's not a document that is for John Paul. Yes, we know that we need to read and get an idea. And yes, that's why we have public meetings for us to discuss it. But the sum total of an EIA is a technical document for agencies and stuff to make decisions. Some of the terminologies in EIAs will be about some persons.
I am not saying no, but I would like to send it to technical people and they cannot read it. So I think I have the right to be able to see what it says. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, that's fine. But I mean, you have my number, that's a problem for you.
We have requested NWA over and over for the documents and the diagrams, and we have not had any response.
But I just said me, I just said NWA.
Well, we Dr. McNeil asked for the information too, and we still haven't received it.
Okay. Madam President?
Yes, sir.
I think you have asked a legitimate question. You're looking clarity with respect to the documents that are being presented, and I think the onus of responsibility is upon them to ensure that the documents that they are going to present are presented in such a manner that they are at least legible.
I appreciate. Can we have
so
time?
We're going to ask them.
Yes, could we know when?
To do same.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much, sir.
Sure. Ladies and gentlemen, it tells me that you are vigilant. It tells me that you love your town, Negril, and you want the best for it. You don't want the best for it right here? Okay. You don't want to bring no water. All right. Okay. But this coming together has been instructive for all the parties concerned. I am sure that the respective agencies would have listened and would have noted all the comments, all the recommendations, all the suggestions that have been made. And that in the end, because the Negril product is so critical to Jamaica, not just to persons who live here, but critical to the development and advancement of this beloved country, that the right decision be taken. Because in the long run, history is going to determine whether we have made the right decision or the wrong decision. We're going to stand and sing we're going to thank those from NEPA and those. Just to remind you, you'll have 30 days to formally write to make such recommendations. And I implore all of us that we use that opportunity to make such recommendations and suggestions and express. Could we stand for the national anthem, please? Eternal Father, bless our land. Guard us with thy mighty hand. Keep us free from evil powers. Be our light through countless hours. To our leaders, great defender, grant true wisdom from above. Justice, truth be ours forever. Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, 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 land we love. Teach us true respect for all. Stir response to duty's call. Strengthen us the weak to cherish. Give us vision lest we perish. Knowledge send us, Heavenly Father, grant true wisdom from above. Justice, truth be ours forever. Jamaica, land we love. Jamaica, 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 land we love. Good evening, everyone. Did you see how our anthem spoke so eloquently to what we're talking about this evening? God bless you.